I'm Henry Louis Gates Jr., and it gives me an enormous amount of pleasure to welcome you to the announcement of the 2022 Anisfield-Wolf Book Awards. Many of you know that I'm a professor at Harvard University, and I also am the host of the PBS series Finding Your Roots. But I'm especially honored to be the chair of the jury for the Anisfield-Wolf Book Awards. And here are my fellow jurors to present this year's winners.
I'm Rita Dove, and I'm a poetry professor at the University of Virginia. And it is my distinct pleasure and honor to serve on the jury of the Anisfield-Wolf Awards. This year, I came upon a remarkable book of poetry, The Renunciations by Donica Kelly. The Renunciations is a marvelously lyric book about some very, very raw and rough experiences. It is the story of a terrorized childhood. It's a story of sexual abuse. It's a story of racial tensions, the differences of sexual orientation. All of this may seem like a lot to put in one book, and yet that is the power of poetry, as Donica Kelly proves in this book. Through a series of erasures and sonnets and tercets, letters to an unnamed recipient, which have been redacted to the point of just a few words coming out, but those words that come out strike you like hammer blows. And when I read this book, I thought to myself that they have done something so remarkable. It is poetry of the highest order and therefore entirely worthy to be sung to the hilltops.
Hello, I'm Joyce Carol Oates, longtime faculty member at Princeton University, and at the present time, visiting distinguished professor in the English department at Rutgers University, New Brunswick. I'm delighted to announce our 2022 Anisfield-Wolf Award in Fiction. Percival Everett's The Trees, easily the most idiosyncratic, least classifiable work of fiction the Anisfield-Wolf Foundation has ever honored. Percival Everett's 32nd novel, like its predecessors, is a wickedly clever novel of ideas in the guise of genre fiction. It's a combination of mystery thriller, police procedural, absurdist comedy, and the aftermath of a series of bizarre homicides in Mississippi that gradually spread through the entire United States. Everett is a master stylist, a brilliantly innovative experimental artist in the mode of Robert Cougar and Ishmael Reed, suffused with the savage indignation of Jonathan Swift, or the appalling injustices of a racial society that, even while acknowledging its worst crimes, does little to prevent them so that they recur through the decades. Thank you.
I'm Steve Pinker, professor of psychology at Harvard University and a member of the jury of the Anisfield-Wolf Book Awards. I'm delighted to announce one of the winners of the Nonfiction Award in 2022, Of Fear and Strangers, A History of Xenophobia, by the psychiatrist and historian George Macari. Of Fear and Strangers takes on one of the two challenges of the Anisfield-Wolf Book Awards, namely to make important contributions to our understanding of racism. Every year, many superb books come out that describe episodes of racism and their effects on people, nations, and history, but fewer seek to understand racism as a phenomenon to be studied and analyzed. Racism is intimately related to distrust, fear, contempt, even hatred of strangers, other cultures, other races, other others. This is the first history of the various theories, some of them exotic and even strained, that people have tried to use to make sense of this unfortunate mindset that our species easily slips into. Of Fear and Strangers, the jury thought, is also beautifully written with an absence of cliché and jargon and replete with liveliness, wit, and original turns of phrase. The book is erudite and fascinating, implicating many historical, literary, and intellectual figures, But it is by no means dry history. It includes poignant personal reminiscences of the effects of intergroup hatred, an unavoidable subject given the author's family roots in Lebanon, a country that not so long ago was synonymous with ethnic hatred. While the country still has no shortage of xenophobia, its civil war ended 30 years ago, adding to the hope that a better understanding of the fear of strangers can help us overcome it.
Hello, I'm Simon Schama. I'm Professor of Art History and History at Columbia University, the author of far too many books and the writer and presenter of far too many television documentaries. But amidst this routine, it's still possible, and at my advanced stage, to be simply knocked sideways by an utterly brilliant, thoughtful, and moving history book. So I'm really, really delighted to announce that one of the Anisfield-Wolf Awards in nonfiction goes to Tia Miles for All That She Carried, The Journey of Ashley's Sack. Now, there's a rich literature already on the Black experience and on women's history, but this is extraordinarily poetic. It realizes that history through a material object and all of those who came in touch with it. So it has an incredibly gripping personal story to tell. I found it enormously illuminating, incredibly moving, made me think in fresh ways about this long and difficult and challenging history. And I'm delighted, therefore, that this award has been given to Tia Miles, and I'm very grateful to her for allowing us all to read this quite beautiful and important book.
I'm delighted to announce that Ishmael Reed, novelist, poet, playwright, lyricist, magazine publisher, and small press publisher, is our Lifetime Achievement Award winner this year. The jury enthusiastically agreed that this genre-bending and genre-transcending writer has pride of place in the Anisfield-Wolf canon. Readers will know him from his ingenious novels, ranging from the freelance pallbearers published in 1967 to The Terrible Fours, published in 2021, and including two of my personal favorites, Yellowback Radio Broke Down and Mumbo Jumbo, which will enjoy a 50th anniversary edition this year. His novel, Flight to Canada, is a stunningly brilliant parody of the form of the slave narratives. Ishmael Reed is one of the most sophisticated and fearless authors in the great tradition of American satire. He is, without question, the godfather of Black postmodernism, and he's one of the most continuously innovative and prolific writers at work today. It's our hope that this award will mean that even more readers discover his seminal oeuvre, comprised of 12 novels, 7 books of poems, 11 collections of essays, 10 plays, 15 edited anthologies, with many more works to come. Please join us on September 15th to celebrate each of these towering authors' achievements. Details to follow.